Welcome. We're live with episode number 19 of Sales Team Rescue. I am your host, Jeremy DeMerchant, and today I have got a special guest. So let me tell you a little bit about Rob. So after 20 plus years of being a top 5% sales producer for one of the largest trade show exhibit companies in the world, Robert thought he knew everything. Okay, almost everything when it came to sales. Now, it wasn't until he lost it all and was brought to his knees that he realized how little he really knew about sales. On February 4th, 2016, this would be one of the darkest days of his life, a day which would be the first step in an extraordinary journey, teaching him about life, embracing the uncomfortable, and earning the permission to start meaningful connections with perfect strangers. A day which would lead him to the biggest sale of his career on April 13th, 2016. I still get chills when I read it, Rob. It's the learnings from this journey that led him to create Karma Calls, which is the polar opposite of cold calls. Every day, Rob is inspiring and bringing humor to perfect strangers with his serendipitous Karma Calls. Rob, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Sales Team Rescue. It's such a pleasure to be here.
I'm grateful to be here.
I love this shirt. On
every level, man.
I love it. So, Rob, I got to tell you. So we were talking before the show, and I just get so fired up about great stories, and you have a great story. So, I'm just going to open it up and let you tell your story. Tell the audience how you got here, what this Karma Calls thing is, and especially that story that I love so much that made them come to fruition.
Sure. And like I said, I'm grateful to be here and to tell it. And, February 4th, 2016 was a dark day. And I was a broken man in many ways, both financially, emotionally, and spiritually. And I was on my way into New York City for those. And I was in an Uber, and I wasn't in the back seat of the Uber, and I wasn't in the passenger seat. I was I was driving for Uber, and I come from a pretty privileged background. People in my hood, we don't drive Ubers. We take Ubers, and this was a really, really dark day for me. And so as I'm driving into the city, the first request comes in to pick up a rider, and my head was everywhere but in front of me. And sure enough, I sideswiped a yellow cab before I even picked up my first rider. And luckily there wasn't too much damage. I think I gave the guy $100, and was able to move on. And the rest of my week really wasn't all that much better. And I was driving for a week, and people were just rude, really weren't talking. It was quiet. It was pretty much my worst nightmare. And I kind of remember sitting in my bed after about a week, and I said, okay, how am I going to turn this nightmare around? What am I going to do? What am I going to do for my family? How am I going to kind of get my career and everything back on track? And then it kind of came to me. Okay, this doesn't define who I am. I'm going to turn this into this incredible journey. I was going to be a beacon of positive energy. I was going to throw gratitude out to every single person who got into my car. I was going to look for the beauty in everybody, and everybody was going to talk to me because, you're in my car, that we were going to connect. And I wanted people to walk out of this car like, wow, I just had like the most inspiring ride ever.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think I want to jump in for a second because you did something really important that, like sales, whether you're on a sales team, you're running a sales team, you're an entrepreneur for yourself, there's tough times and there's dark days. And we have the ability to do whatever we choose with that, right? So, I want to give you a shout out for making the choice, because that's a tough choice to make. Right? When you're deep in the darkness, there's a lot of things that can happen. You can throw in the towel. You can, call it a day. like it can be tough. So kudos to you for making that decision. Okay, go on.
Thank you. No, and I firmly believe that now. And so what I started learning is, as soon as everybody opened the door and got in the car, I expressed gratitude to every single person. I said, I'm grateful to you for taking my call. And at least in New York City, they all kind of looked at me really weird.
Right.
Like, why is this guy saying this now? You're supposed to say it at the end of the ride.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, I'm saying this at the end of the ride because I am grateful for you being in here, because if you're not, I'm by myself.
Right.
And it changed the whole climate of the ride, because people went from being in the car and with a stranger to somebody who just connected with them without them even really knowing it.
Mm.
And this will be one of the sales lessons that we talk about. But I then started having conversations with them and started asking them questions. And I always wanted, like, all right, I want to do something that makes someone curious. And I asked everybody what their favorite quote was.
Mm.
And there were people who, as soon as they asked that, there's some people who had lots of answers. By the way, mine has changed the way you look at things. The things that you look at change. And all of a sudden, these people, like I said, I started having amazing conversations, especially when I told them my quote, and I kind of even told them where I was, and it just opened up this sort of this safe zone of having connections. And I even had people after the ride, because I would give them a card, who would text me a week or two later saying, "Here's my quote, thank you." And
Wow.
so it was just, once again, it was this ability to ask, show gratitude, and then just ask that one question. So every day I went from being miserable to being like, okay, I'm going to pick up 20 people every day, and I'm going to fall in love and have this amazing connection with 3 or 4 who either really desperately needed my energy and see me, or maybe they needed to give it to me. And it brought me to April 13th at 1:51, my 551st ride. And I remember picking this woman up. I'll call her this woman for now. And she's walking to the car, and I was like, oh. And there was just something about her. And she gets into the car, and we were going to the airport, and we just started having, the same gratitude. And oh, by the way, when I asked her favorite quote, it was dance like nobody's watching. And I'm like, okay, that's me. We're connected for a reason. We're me. And we had the most deeply personal conversation that just flowed. And when we got to the airport, I got out, to take her bags out, and she kind of gives me her card and said, "You should call me." And she said it in such a way that was, you should call me because, I like you. You're a good guy. I'm glad you hugged me. And of course, I'm an Uber driver, so I texted her, 3 minutes later, because I have no game. And I ended up, and we just ended up talking the whole time. And I remember a week later, I went to go pick her back up at the airport because she was coming back from a business trip. And on my way there, I'm like, okay, one or two things is happening here. Either this is really an unbelievably special connection, or somehow, some way I'm getting duped, and that she just wants a free ride. Humble and confident, right?
Yeah.
And so it turned out that this was something special, and we would very quickly, fall in love. And on May 24th of 2018, that woman, Tracy, would change her last name to mine and become my wife. And I look at February 4th, 2016 as like one of the darkest days, but one of the greatest lessons that I've learned. And I've become grateful for the challenges in my life. And I've been grateful for, the good in my life, because challenges teach you lessons. And it just brought to light what Karma Calls is kind of all about. And because that was the other thing I asked myself, was, how do I take this to another level, right? How do I go and do this in a real business sense? How do I change the dynamic of the cold call? And it's like, it's the same thing. You express insane gratitude from very beginning. It's hard for someone to go and be, rude to somebody who expresses gratitude.
Yeah.
Create some curiosities that's not a narcissistic, hey, I'm great, these are who are our clients. You come to them and create, I want to bring something that's really interesting, that they can't just hang up the phone. Then be empathetic and know that I'm calling you. I don't know what's going on in your life at this moment, when me and you connect, and I care about you because that's who I am as a person. And then you just bring, fabulous energy. And when you do that, you can earn the permission to create a connection with someone who knows that you care, has great energy, and you know what, is someone who could potentially they want to do business with. And so I don't make cold calls anymore. I make karma calls, and they're absolutely exhilarating, tiring,
Mhm.
but exhilarating.
Well,
And
I find like, you had this experience. So you were driving for Uber. You went from darkest day to committing to being a beacon of light, your words, right? And you saw that this approach, this attitude, this energy, not to get too woo woo, but this energy, right?
go there.
It it gave you, well, as is in your intro, the most important sale, the biggest sale of your life, right?
Biggest sale of my life. It gave me
And
purpose.
and when you take that formula, because I often in my sales training, I relate sales to dating, right? You don't propose a marriage on the first date, things like that. But you took the literal, hey, this worked and ended up accidentally getting me a date and then eventually a wife. And you went, let's go make a business out of it. I love it. I love it.
And I would even take it one little step further, what you said. I think cold calling is kind of like speed dating.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm going to get introduced to 20 people in a short period of time. But I'm going to look for I don't care, I'm going to look for the beauty. And instead of going through all 20 thinking, okay, not for me, not for me, not for me, I'm looking for the one. I'm going to go and look for the beauty in every single person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give them the greatest experience, whether or not there's no connection, that's okay. Because I am moving, because when I move on to the next person, I want to make sure I'm in this fabulous state. And my goal is not necessarily what I want. I want to go and inspire 20 people who I just met to feel amazing about themselves so they can find the right person. If it ends up being me, great. If not, that's okay. But either way, it's going to come back to me in another way. And I didn't know that when I was going through the process. So when I kind of shared all this beauty and energy with the first 550 people, I wasn't expecting it to come back to me, but it absolutely did. And like I said, that's where I think what's the exhilarating part about sort of even cold calling is that I have an opportunity to make someone remember me at the end of this day and give them something.
Yeah, I think there's so many lessons that we can pull from this too, because I feel like I could be here all day doing it. But one of the big things that I don't think is really highlighted enough here is that if we compare the conversations, the Uber rides that you had 550, and then 551 was when your future wife, got into the car. So we spend our time, we're dialing, we're connecting, and we give up after 2 or 3 conversations, right? We throw in the towel, we're exhausted. Oh, it's not working, right? These conversations we have with ourselves. And although you weren't, aiming for the goal necessarily, you were just trying to be in the moment, trying to create an experience for yourself and for someone else.
Right.
And then 551, bam. Or as you said, whoa, right? And I think that, that's just one of the lessons that if you keep doing it, if you have a process, you believe in the process and you follow through with it, you will get your whoa at the end of it. Right?
The right person will somehow pick up the phone and you will be connected. You will be the best version of yourself. And that, the grind, as we call it, all of a sudden there is no grind. There will be a flow. It'll be a natural conversation of someone who says, yes, I'm glad I picked up this phone and I'm speaking to you. And you know what? You're somebody who I want to, connect with.
Mm.
And when you kind of go in there with that mindset, it just changes everything and I never thought I would equate purpose to cold calls, but I absolutely do. And like I said, my goal every day is to either inspire somebody or share some humor with them so that when they get off this phone it's like, oh wow, that was, that was that was not a waste. That was not a waste of time for me. That
Mm.
was, I could take calls like this every single day, which is the exact opposite.
Oh, I think we lost your audio. Oh, I think we lost your audio. No, I don't. Oh, I think we lost the audio. Is that me? I can't hear you. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So somebody's audio is not working at the moment. So everybody bear with me while I check to see which one of us. It might be me. 1 second. Oh, we might have glitched out. This is what happens with live TV. Okay, well, And as I look at the feed, I see an error with the feed. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, that error was my fault. 1 second. Oh, I think we're still rolling. Okay, so I'm not sure. 1 second. If anybody can hear me right now, they're going to get stereo. Oh, I think we're still rolling. Okay, so I'm not sure. No, all right. My audio's working, Rob. It looks like yours somehow disconnected. Can't hear you now. If you want to pop out and come back in with the same link, you can still hear me, yeah? No, yeah, okay. Or can you just disconnect the headset completely, and maybe the computer speaker will work? No. Welcome to live TV. It's all good though. Oh no, nada. Okay, let's do. If the computer's not working, do you have Zoom on your, or not Zoom? This is Be Live. If you click the link from your phone, you can jump on your phone. That might work. We're very creative. And actually, let me see. I might be able to. Let me just try one thing first. If I put you down here, and I put you back up into broadcast. How about now? No, I still can't hear you. Okay. It's all good. You know what? This pause is created so like somebody will jump on live that wasn't on live before, or something. There's always a reason, right? Hang on, I'm just gonna double check the audio here. You know what? It's all good. You know what? This pause is created so like somebody. I think it's a Be Live issue because I think I can hear you on here. There's always a reason, right? Hang on, I'm just gonna double check the audio here. Say something. You know what? It's all good. You know what? This pause is created so like somebody. I think it's a Be Live issue because I think I can hear you on here. There's always a reason, right? Hang on, I'm just gonna double check the audio here. Say something. You know what? No, okay. No, I was wrong. Okay. The audio on your side still gapping out. All right. Well, that's okay. We have your story. We have the karma calls. And if there's a way you can, you know what? If you close out the window and go back to the link, we might be able to get you back in. It might just be a connection link. So if you try that, we will sit tight and wait for you to jump back in. Right. Let's change our. Boom. It's me now. All right, guys. So, oh, you see the edge of my wall. Doesn't matter. Awesome. All right, guys. So if you were just joining us today, we are chatting with Rob Kellner, and we have a little tech glitch that we are working out, and that is the beauty that is live TV. So stay tuned. And if you are watching live, we'd love to see your comments. We'd love to see your likes and loves and shares. And let me see here. Rob's coming back on. Give me 2 seconds, Rob. Let's see what we got.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back. All right.
Hey, look at this. We did it with smiles, man. So we got a good lesson here, right?
Exactly.
And you didn't even turn red, and there's no sweat on you, man. So, dude, you're a rock star. There you go.
What? You know, it's funny. I had this realization in the gym on Monday. Actually, I'm going to get totally sidetracked here, but I realized that if at the end of the workout you still worry about what other people think of you, you have not worked out hard enough. And when it comes to sales calls, if at the end of the day you still care about if people say no, then you haven't made enough calls, right? And so I've done enough of these lives now that anything can happen, right?
Hey, it's a learning experience.
Exactly. Okay, so let's go back on track. We were talking about the karma calls. We were talking about the process, and I want to dive in to talking about the mindset of it, because I understand, the pieces that you tie in, but that's starting point, because people go, they don't want to pick up the phone. I don't know why we do this anymore. We don't actually have phone receivers usually, but they don't want to pick up the phone. So tell me what, especially when you were starting on the phones doing the calls.
Sure.
What was that conversation you had with yourself to get you into that state of gratitude and wanting to make that impact?
Sure. And so, like I said, karma calls, evolved because, cold calls are an interruption, right? Cold calls are things, that I think about my 75-year-old mother who says, oh, I just hang up on them. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Karma calls is serendipity. It's serendipitous that I have something that I want, unexpectedly want to come into your life. So when you pick up this phone, I am thinking, all right, Jeremy, I'm going to give you something that you are so not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is going to be a good call no matter what. That doesn't mean you're interested in what I'm saying or talking about. Right. But you're going to get off this phone with more energy than when you started the call. And once again, that's why the process really is. That's why I express gratitude so quickly, because I want them to be like, I am so grateful for you taking this. I am grateful to you for taking my call, which sets the tone of, okay, this is not a regular call. It's a karma call. And so the mindset is, I really do have something that's going to impact your life, maybe not change it, but I have something, whether it be a product or a service, and if nothing else, and if it's not the right product or service or the right time, I will leave you with a joke. I will leave you with more energy. Your day will be better because of this interaction, and you're going to go home to your wife, your boyfriend, your colleague, or you're going to say, well, I just got this, you won't believe this call I just got.
Right.
So that's sort of exhilarating. So the mindset, once again, change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change.
Right.
Is this is not a cold call. This is, in fact, this is the polar opposite of a cold call. It's not even a warm call. This is a call that somehow, some way we were supposed to connect, and I'm going to give you everything that I have. And guess what? And if you're not open to it and you're not receptive to it, that's okay. Because maybe there's things going on in your life right now that you are just not open to having positive and good energy come into your life.
Mm.
and I accept that. And and I say a 4-second prayer. I hope some good things come to Jeremy's way. I move on to the next. So when
Love
you
it.
look at it from more of this bigger kind of wonky, way, spiritual,
Yeah.
if I can use the word,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like I'm I'm doing something with purpose. I am doing things that is so needed today, especially in this world of people texting, and emails where they don't get a lot of this fabulous energy into their lives because they're doing their job, right? And I want to be this breath of this moment of fresh air to them, and regardless, and like it's like, wow, this is great, and I get paid to do it.
Love
Not a
it.
bad gig.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So there's two things that I want to do. First of all, I want to jump into the lightning round really quick because this
Uh,
is like the fun questions.
all right.
Not that the other ones aren't fun, but
Yeah.
so as we know, coffee's for closers. I love
Mm,
my ugly sweater mug my
mm,
grandmother gave me for
uh,
Christmas.
okay.
What's
Big
your favorite
trouble.
kind of coffee or comparable drink?
Favorite character. So I'm not a coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. So I have to
Guys,
tell you.
I promised Rob that we wouldn't hold that against him. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so this is gonna call me out though. I must admit, I like a strawberry daiquiri, and I must admit when I order one and I'm actually not at a beach, people look at me and just be like, are you kidding me? Are
You
you
know
or
what though? You know what? You have your drink like you're dancing like nobody's watching, right?
I'm like I like my sweet drinks. It's just like, and I have a friend who's sort of like the real man's man. It's like that's so not a man's drink. I know, but it's what I like.
Yeah,
So
there you go. Right? It's
there
yeah.
you go. Got to be authentic. So
There we
now that
go.
I'm
I love it. I
now
love
I'm now I'm red in the face.
it. You know what? We're okay with the daiquiri as long as there
Yeah.
are not too many during the day. You're okay.
Nah, nah.
What's the number one book or movie you recommend to sales people or sales leaders?
The number one book is by Wayne Dyer. It's The Power Intentions,
Mm,
and I didn't realize when as I was going through my journey how much of his thinking and what I love about it is whether or not you're religious or not, atheist, agnostic, there's just so many things that allow you to kind of look at whatever your situation is and find an empowering way to look at it. It doesn't mean when it's raining that you can say, no, it's delusional to think it's sunny, but it is not delusional to think, okay, I'm going to go outside in spite of the rain and have an amazing run, and I'm going to do something great. So, and once again, in my case, it was this is going to be a journey that's going to lead me to a great way, and it's going to be, the foundation of my pain is going to be my gift,
mm.
and it became my pain became my gift. So it's The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer is absolutely I think is something that should be read and has a very applicable to anyone who's in sales who kind of tries to explain why didn't they buy everything seems so rational. We were saving them money, they liked us.
Mhm.
Not everything in life is rational. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. In
You
fact,
know it,
most things aren't. Yeah.
most things are not. It's emotional. Yes. So yeah. So Wayne Dyer is The Power of Intention. Great book.
Awesome. Awesome. So, who's someone that you've considered a mentor in your life?
Um, my dad,
Yeah.
just because. Well,
Sorry.
you got to give me a warning on those questions. Um, just because he's 82 and he kind of gets all of this, and he taught me about looking for the good in everybody, and just has the greatest outlook of life, and and really just always was, I was going to love you whether or not you're successful, crazy successful, and he just is just the greatest role model that I have as a person. And if you can be an amazing person, then being a good salesperson should follow fairly easy.
Yeah.
And if you can't be an amazing person, it's going to be hard to be a good salesperson. Some people clearly pull it off. It's just not me.
No, it's so true. It's so true.
Well,
Final question.
yeah.
Let's just stop the red in the. Well, this might make more red in the face. We'll see.
Oh, good.
What's the strangest thing you do in your daily routine to stay on your game?
So, what I did and what I do every day,
Mm-hmm.
even before this meeting, is there's a certain group of music that I listen to get me into what I call the state of mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because I know I need to be in a state of mind, I need to, wipe off all the sort of what I call mishigash and all the little minutia and all the things all the things in my house that need to get done. And I will go and I will dance around and I will listen to boy bands. I got it. I will listen to music that my kids will be completely embarrassed about, because you know what? I need to embrace the silly. I need to kind of get into this mindset of, being my best version of myself. So I just, and I was dancing before I got on you. In fact, I know there's a song. I don't know if you're familiar with The Greatest Showman.
Yep.
I Am Me, or I believe that there's a video.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
What amazing video. And I just love, so I watch things that give me energy, that build my energy, because I have a lot to give during the day. So I need to sort of fill up. Some people fill up with coffee and a big breakfast. I fill up with things that there you go, things with great energy. So I come into these calls and I'm like, let's do it. I bring out the Robbie Rob.
There you go. I love it. For the record, I'm a fan of boy bands too.
All of them. It's crazy.
Good.
Totally, but my kids are mortified.
Right. I know. I bought a ticket to go see Shawn Mendes last year. So
totally. Yeah, I'd roll.
Whatever.
I'd roll that way. I'd roll that way, man.
It gives you energy, right? It pumps you up, man. I love it. I love it.
You can't just not. So my suggestion: do something that makes you feel unbelievably good. It doesn't matter what it is. Start every day completely with a fresh tank of energy. And my goal is to give it all away to the end of the day, that I'm exhausted, but in a good way, not exhausted in a frustrated way. I gave it all, and I will get my sleep, and I'll refuel tomorrow.
Love it. I love it. Awesome. So, I wasn't sure whether I was going to ask you this or not, but this is the last question I'm going to ask you.
Let's do it.
So I may have heard a certain joke that you tend to tell people on calls. Now, keep in mind that when Rob shares this, the idea is to get a reaction and entertain people. Rob, what's that joke? The one that you tell?
So before I will give the joke, but before I do, once again, the goal of telling the joke is for two things. And there's a saying, leave people smiling so that when you come back again, they will welcome you. Mm-hmm. So the fact that a call maybe didn't go, I want to be able to call these people back, and I want to go and leave them feeling great. And I also want to leave someone feeling great if they say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we'll meet with you. So, you ready, Jeremy?
Let's do it.
What do you call 5 cold callers on the bottom of the ocean?
What do you call 5 cold callers on the bottom of the ocean?
A good start. And you know what? And people react very differently. And typically when they're kind of like sitting there in silence, I say to them, you know what, Jeremy, I just want to let you know my racier stuff is much funnier, but I got to keep things G on these calls. And you know what? I typically get a reaction from pretty much everybody, and I'm just trying to listen, I want you to remember this call. Okay. I want you to know that I tried to inspire you. I tried to make you laugh, and it's now time to move on, and that's okay. And and I'm grateful for the call, no matter what, because you gave me a minute of your life, and you know what? That minute's precious, and I think we forget about how precious that time really is. And so that's my joke.
I love it. It's just about getting that reaction and staying memorable, right? That's because you want people when you call say, "Oh, Rob, right?" and you'll almost start off with a laugh. That's how you left them, right?
Hey, it's Jeremy. Hey, listen, I'm calling to follow up with you. I have a little bit more insight, and I do have another joke for you. And you want to know something? I've had people pick up the phone. I'm like, okay, I'm only taking this call because I want to hear this another joke. And you
Right,
know
right.
what? So,
I love it. I love
and I
it.
will tell you this, and I won't tell you that. Maybe off the air I'll tell you the joke, but I do have people who have told me their jokes, and I have one person who say, "Do you mind if I tell you a racy joke?" And she said something that was so like, "Wow." So I will tell you this: it's kind of a lot of fun, and I know, but I don't know we're going over time. It goes to what you're saying, being uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and there's something about being uncomfortable for a moment and then sort of allowing people to be like, it's okay. It was an uncomfortable moment, but it was worth it. So it's uncomfortable to say something. Hey, do you mind if I leave you with a joke?
Mm.
Okay. I don't know what's coming my way, but that that uncomfortableness is actually part of what makes it so dynamic. Because
Mm.
then I kind of put a pin in the balloon, and the air pops out because, okay, this wasn't offensive, it wasn't bad, and they laugh, and so.
Right. I like it. I like it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, I appreciate you being here, and I want to tell the people how to get a hold of you. Is it best for them to email you if they want to reach out to you and learn more?
Absolutely.
Bam. We'll get that email up on the screen. Robert Kellner at live.com. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rob. I'm going to give a shout out to Jessica Magoosh, who recommended that we chat. She was our guest last week. And it's been a blast. I love your energy. I love your story. I'm a hopeless romantic. So that story gives me chills every time I read it and every time I listen to it. So thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it. And I appreciate you. And
Yeah.
for those of you watching and listening, this was episode 19 of Sales Team Rescue. You can see the replay and previous episodes at salesteamrescue.com. We will see you next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, here live on Headspace TV. Guys, get uncomfortable, get results, play safe. Cheers.